Okay, happy birthday, all.
Happy birthday, Yoel.
Okay, Sunday night is the Ramchal's yahrzeit. So, to honor the Ramchal, I want to say over a word on this week's parsha, a deep idea from the Ramchal. The pasuk says in the middle of the tocha, all the curses in Parashat Bechukosai, it's not even over yet, and but before it's even over, in the middle, it shtups in the pasuk v'zacharti esprisi Yaakov, af esprisi Yitzchak, vaspri Avram eskor varetz eskor. So it's in the middle of the tocha, right? And it goes in reverse order. Yaakov, then Yitzchak, then Avram. It should be Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, like in the order that they were born in. And then it says after that, varetz eskor. Right, I'll remember the land also. Right, so says the Ramchal to explain this, that the truth is that the Yaakov Avinu, his being the Behar Sheba'avos, right, being the chosen. We find he's called the chosen of the three of us. He's like the highest one. So amongst the many things that it means is that Yaakov Avinu, we know all his kids were Jewish. Yaakov mitaso shlema. So that means that he is untouchable by the forces of evil. You see that Yitzchak and Abraham were touchable and were able to be penetrated by the forces of evil. What's the proof? Because Yitzchak had Esav and Abraham had Yishmael. Right, so the fact that Yaakov Avinu had no Rishoyim come out of him shows that he's untouchable by the forces of the Tumah. And his forces of Tumah can't latch on and take anything from him. So therefore, that's why we start from Yaakov Avinu. You want the basis of this promise that we're going to explain more in just a second. The basis of it has to be Yaakov Avinu, because this is how HaKadosh Baruch Hu is separating us and making us above and beyond the evil. So that's to start with Yaakov, where the Ra has no foothold on him. And then you see that that's definitely what the pasuk means. It says, Va'af es brisi Yitzchak, Va'af es brisi Avram. Why do you need the word Va'af? You can see, brisi Yaakov, V'brisi Yitzchak, V'brisi Avram. The word Va'af, and also shows that it's secondary. The base is Yaakov Avinu, who's impregnable to any type of penetration from the evil. And since that's the base, you can add Avram and Yitzchak on top of him, but not side by side with him, but tofel to him, secondary to him, because this promise is coming to safeguard us. And that's why it's in the middle of the tochacha. This promise is a promise of safeguard, that even within the tzara, there's like a secure perimeter. But it gets even more than that even within the tzara, there's it's not like a half shelter, right? We could have, even within the tzara, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the tikkun hashalem, that it says, va'aretz eskor, I'm going to remember the land like Eretz Yisrael. That means that there could be, just like, by the Zman of the Geula, and the Shechina is revealed in Eretz Yisrael, right? It could also be that even within the Golus, there could be like a secure perimeter that's like an embassy of Eretz Yisrael, that you're living within Tikkun, even with Kilkul all around you. And that's V'zacharti. Zechira comes from, it comes from the mind, Zechira, to remember. Zechira refers to the spheres of Abba and Ima, of Chochmah and Bina. So, because Zechira is in the mind. V'zacharti esprisi Yaakov, afprisi Avram eskor. The base is Yaakov, which is impregnable from the evil. Yaakov is Tiferes, Avram, and Yitzchak is Chesed and Gevura. V'gam haaretz eskor is Malchus. It's like a koma shlema, like a whole system of kedusha, like we have Bisman Agula. We have it in small. HaKadosh sometimes opens up a secure parameter for us within the Golus. Right? So now I want to cross-reference this with what the Ramchal says was the big tikkun of the Sefer Azor. Right? That that the Ramchal says elsewhere in a different place that that's what the tikkun that he furthered. The fact that the Zohar was composed even within Golus, and we spoke about this Lag Bomer evening. Within Golus, when Rav Shimon Bar Yochai was on the run from the Romans, right? That's when he reached his madrigas that gives the Zohar. The Zohar is also like the Ramchal likens it to a teva, to an ark. There's a raging flood around, but there's a secure perimeter, and those who learn Sefer HaZohar have a secure perimeter, which of pure ore and tikkun, even within the darkness and the raging of the Sitra that surrounds you. And if we're strong enough, or we learn enough Zohar, the Zohar says that with the power of Zohar we get out of the Golus. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu opened up a little portal for us, even within the Golus, a portal of tikkun. If we grab onto it, we could survive. Not only we could survive, but we could draw power from it to get us out of the Golus. And that's what the Ramchal is describing over here. And then the Ramchal writes about himself that that there's supposed to be a second light of the Zohar. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai was the first, and that first light got more and more explained and understood until his time, and then he was chosen by Hashem to be the second light of the Zohar that would continue to tikkun even further, to add a whole nother level. And he was indeed working on a sefer called Zohar Sheni, second Zohar, that he was writing al pi the malachim and the neshamas of tzaddikim that revealed themselves to him. And he gave us a whole nother level of understanding of Sod, that he said that everything that the Ari said is just a mashal, and he, the Ramchal, revealed the nimshal. Everything that the Ari said was just it was the layer that still needs further interpretation, and that's what he, the Ramchal, revealed. And he, with his yeshiva, it was mamish like recreating the circumstances of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai and his Talmidim that created the Zohar together, by pulling the pieces together and giving a chibur of Sefer HaZohar. The Ramchal and his Talmidim were working on the exact same thing, right? To further that tikkun one step further, which would have indeed gotten us, if the Ramchal would have been Matzliach, we would have gotten out of Golus. But sadly, they were against the Ramchal and they pushed back, and he had to leave his yeshiva, and his yeshiva disbanded, and these wonderful writings that he was composing, Al Pi Malachim and the Neshamas of Tzaddikim, were confiscated. Most were lost. We only have a few excerpts here and there, very small chiburim, very small parts. It's not a whole chibur. It's not a whole book. And we explained this, on the Lag Bomer evening, that, the in of Sefer HaZohar, it's a chibur. It's a composition. Shimon Bar Yochai pulled the pieces together for us and gave us a whole, not just like a little bit of light, gave us a whole system of light, even within the Golus, even when the whole system went kaput around you, right? The system around you went kaput. There's still a system of tikkun within the all the kilkul and churban, all the desolation and destruction that envelops you, right? And that's what the Ramchal and his Talmidim were working on, furthering, adding another step to it, right? And everyone knows, right? Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, like the shita that Lag Bomer is his yahrzeit, and that's the day he finished his final entry in the Zohar. He said the Idra Zuta. He died on Hod Shebahod, splendor of splendor, mamish, revealing the light. But the Ramchal died on Chaf Vav Iyar, right? 8 days later, on Yesod Shebi Yesod. They pushed the tikkun one step further, from Hod Shebahod to Yesod Shebi Yesod. But the midah of Yesod itself is the midah of pulling the pieces together and brings the geula, right? Which brings us to the next piece of the Ramchal that he goes in the continuation of the piece that we're in the middle of. And he points out, what the Chazal that Rashi brings, that Yaakov over here is spelled in this pasuk, Zachatis Brisi Yaakov with a Vav. Yaakov is spelled full with the letter Vav. And then Rashi, I believe, points out from Chazal that there are 6 places in the Torah that Yaakov is written with a Vav, and 6 places where Eliyahu is written without a Vav in the scriptures. That Yaakov took the Vav as collateral from Eliyahu. And obviously, I'm not giving it back to you until you bring the Geula. Because explains Ramchal, Yaakov Avinu is the midah of Tiferes, which is the midah of the Beis HaMikdash also, Manora Makom Zeh. Right? Yaakov Avinu now emanates, Yaakov Avinu is like, and we know in the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, Avram is the Yud, Yitzchak Avinu is the Hey, Yaakov Avinu is the Vav, and the final Hey is David HaMelech. The real Madrega Vav is by Yaakov Avinu, and he emanates it to Yosef, the midah of Yesod. Tiferes gives or to the midah of Yesod. He gives Yosef the power to pull the Shvatim together, to be the uniter of the Shvatim. All right, so Yaakov Avinu is the Av that shares his power with Yosef. That Yosef goes within the Shvatim to pull the pieces together, as opposed to, God forbid, Golos were scattered. And that's what Golos is, that the midah of Yesod that holds everything together has been disrupted, and it's called that the Vav, the little Vav of Yesod is not getting its power from the big Vav, which is Yaakov Avinu. Besod Ela Todos Yaakov Yosef. Right? So so Yaakov Avinu says, as a word, the shefa from the Yesod has been withdrawn during the time of Golos. So I'm not going to let there be any type of, pseudo shefa that you should be complacent. If the shefa is withdrawn, it'll be totally withdrawn, and I'm going to hold it collateral, right? To force Eliyahu Hanavi, to force Am Yisrael Ducha, force Eliyahu Hanavi, who's also this midah of Yesod. That's why he's Eliyahu Malach HaBris. Right? He comes to the bris milah, which is the midah of Yesod, which is the midah that holds us all together. There's a bris. Uvo kulam bebris yachad, na'aseh v'nishma amru ke'echad, and that's what's coming up on Shavuos, the bris that made us one nation. Right, that's the midah of Yesod. Right, that's the koch of bris milah that makes us all one people. It's the midah of Yesod, Yosef Atzak, which is pulled. It's drawn from Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu says, "I'm not going to give any shefa. It's all or nothing. If you bring the geula, and I'm going to give you share power with you." And if not, you're not going to have any power to force Am Yisrael and to force the Eliyahu Hanavi, right, to have the necessity to demand and to want to deliver the Geula. Right, and in the Zman where the Beis Mikdash is standing, so from the Beis HaMikdash comes the Shefa that holds all Am Yisrael together, and that's why Am Yisrael is Ole L'Regel, right? But the Zman Churban Abayis, so the midah of Tiferes doesn't emanate to the Yesod. Right? So, Yaakov Avinu is saying there'll be zero. If it's not going to be Gula, then I'm not going to give any emanation whatsoever. And that's to force Am Yisrael and to force Eliyahu Hanavi to do something about it, because they can't survive otherwise. They can't be complacent in goals. And that's again the midah of Yesod, and that's the midah of the Ramchal. That the Ramchal's whole Indian was he made chiburim, the things that we spoke about, Lag Bomer night. He made, compositions, and his special koch was to focus on the internal essential system that holds any discipline together. He zeroed in and singled out the principles and the interconnection between the principles that makes up the central system. And once you have the central system straight, the details just all fall into place. The details aren't out there. There's a framework that all details fall into place, and that's called kibbutz. That's called geula. That's called everything's in its proper place, because you have a notion of the whole that holds everything together, and you could just add the details into that framework. Right? So our word should be Ilui Neshama for the Ramchal, and it should be Me'etz Yosef for us, and on his Yortzeit, Yesod should be Yesod. Right, the midah that pulls Am Yisrael together, the midah that pulls all the pieces together, like the Ramchal so endeavored to do with his Zohar Sheni. He does it with all the books that he composed. He zeroes in on the essential system, and when you have that straight, all the details just fall into place. They're not just out there and scattered. There's a framework, a neat framework they all fit into, so you can understand them and retain them. It also help, is it should be Me'etz for Am Yisrael, and on the midah of Yesod that we should, release the Vav, the midah of the midah of Tiferes. Yaakov Avinu should release the Vav to Eliyahu Hanavi, the midah of Yesod, right? Empower the Yesod to pull the pieces together, pull Klal Yisrael together again to the Gula Shleima B'mehera B'yameinu.
Amen.